The following program is produced by Londonderry residents. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily the views and opinions of the LACTV staff or its volunteers, and should not be considered an endorsement by CTV20 or its staff and volunteers.
Good afternoon, I'm Dennis Martin, and welcome to Londonderry Talk. I do a show every so often here at Londonderry Access, and I try to get some of the candidates that are running for Town Council in. I recently had Richard Belinsky here, and today I have Dan Bouchard. He was also a former police officer here, 28 years in Londonderry, New Hampshire. He just told me, just as we were talking, that he finished out as a safety officer. Yep. And so, you know, I'm going to let Dan tell you a little bit about himself, and then I'm going to try to ask him some questions and see if we can get some type of dialogue going. Go ahead, have fun.
All right. My name is Dan Bouchard. I've lived in town, actually came here in 1979. Came here, got interviewed by Chief Webster and Selectman Welch. They asked me at the time, how long do you plan on staying in Londonderry if we hire you? I said, at least 2 years, because my fiance was going to St. Anselm College, and it was closer for us at the time, and been here ever since. Worked for the town of Londonderry for 28 years as a police officer. Most people know me as Officer Dan. Did a lot of programs in the schools. I was involved a lot in our community, continue to be involved in our community. Served on the Alexander Eastman board, foundation board up there, and was president of New Hampshire Dare Officers Association. I also was recognized as the New Hampshire Outstanding Young Officer of the Year by the state of New Hampshire. Served on the budget committee. Just been doing a lot of meetings, going to our meetings, speaking on behalf of the community. Hopefully, there's a lot of things in town that has changed a lot since I've been here. When I came here in 1979, there was only one traffic light, 102 in Mammoth Road. That was it. Growth has just blown up, and we have purchased in the community development rights, conservation land, so it wouldn't be developed. Still need a lot more of that because the traffic situation in town is just getting really congested.
So, what made you decide you wanted to run for town council? What do you see that you feel that the town should be doing for the town people? Now, one of the biggest issues we have people complaining about, I hear it all the time, is taxes.
Yep.
You know, and I've heard it before. Oh, we've got the lowest tax rate in the state, and I don't know if that's true or not. But then what happens is our value of our houses go up, so the taxes go up on your property.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask you a question a little bit about veterans tax relief. But what do you think issues in the tax area that people are screaming about it? And what do you do differently than what the town council is doing now?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that can be looked at in our community. I recently went up to the council several months ago, and I said, our federal government is going to be looking at, how the government operates. Just Kelly Ayotte up at the state said she's going to be doing the same thing. I suggested to the council, maybe we should be doing that on a local level to see what.
So look for waste?
Well, not waste, but how can we do business better and try to save money for the taxpayers? Not necessarily always waste, but there is waste. Sometimes we can do things better. I remember years ago, the selectmen did a study on one of our departments in town, and they wanted to know, how can we do things better in this department? Do we have enough personnel? Do we have too much personnel? And it came out that, department was top heavy. Too much middle management and not enough, people on the bottom providing the service. Now, I owned a landscaping business for years, besides being a police officer, and I worked for many companies, and I used to see that as well. You'd go to a big company doing work for them, and there's a lot of middle management, and I've seen companies cut that. We don't need all the middle management. Make departments, more efficient. So you can't. I know some people say, well, you got to cut taxes. You know what they say? There's two guarantees in life: death and taxes. Yeah. And can we try to control our spending? I look at what the fire department did at one of the council meetings. Okay, they came forward and they said, listen, we're going to need these trucks. All right, we can lock in now with this company. We're not going to get them for 3 years, okay? But we can lock the price in. I think that's great. You can think out of the box instead of waiting at the last minute and 3 years from now and saying, all right, how much is this truck going to cost us? My goodness, if we locked it in 3 years ago, we're in the people business in the town. The school side's in the people business as well. It costs money to operate that.
Well, the biggest budget we have in the town is the school, on the school side.
Right, and the town council has nothing they can do about the school side.
Sometimes I think that's where some things should be changed. What government should be,
well,
change it. Maybe it's time to go to where we vote for a mayor and we vote for alderman versus town council, because we're getting to be a big town, and we're gonna be city level at one time. It's gonna get to a point where it's gonna get big. I mean, Woodmont is a perfect example of all the construction that's going on, that and supposedly, and I don't know much understanding of completely, but that's supposed to help us on our tax rate, but nobody's seeing that. Nobody feels that Woodmont being built is going to help anything. You know.
Well, I mean, we talk about the school having, the bigger burden of the taxes. When I was on the budget committee, we didn't have bottom line budgets on both sides. It was a line item. So they would, scrutinize every line item. And I have to tell you, since Bob Slater has gotten on that school board, they run a really good ship there. They do it very well as far as their budget. You see his budget this year, with everything they're asking, is below the default. So I also have seen him go in there and say, we're going to put these things out for bid. It's not just automatically we're going to go to this vendor because we've used this vendor for years.
Yeah, right.
Put it out to bid. Get 3 bids. And I like that.
Yeah. When I was in the military, we used to get we'd get bids in, and it'd be 5, 6, 7 bids for a certain item or certain product that we had to buy, and they were sealed, and they had to be open on the same day in front of everybody.
Yep.
Not oh, we'll open this one up and maybe see what the other one does later.
Right.
That type of thing. I don't know what they do here in the town, to be honest with you, about bids. But you're right. Bids. Competition is good for anybody.
It is.
It's that's just I ran a business with my father, and we had a small butcher shop down on Cape Cod, and we used to have to compete with the chain stores. So I used to tell people, you get a pork chops for $1.99 a pound, just using that as a. You come back and tell me they're selling it for $1.79 a pound, I'll sell you my pork chops for $1.79 because I wanted them in my store. Sure. Not down some, and that was good for the customer, and it brought business into me because I'd match dollar for dollar. Yep. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, when we had the old town hall and police station where it is now, and we had to do renovations in that building, and you would go to, the local contractors in town, and they were more than happy to help out. And to me, I think we need to do more of that. Looking at our local contractors.
So let me ask you about this question that people have asked and people have brought up. I hear people talk about it at the local coffee shop or, just talking to people from the town of Londonderry. What's your thoughts on term limits for any town council?
I'm for term limits on everything.
Are you?
Okay, from the federal level all the way down. I think people go in, serve a few terms, and move on. Let other people,
And new ideas.
Yeah, there's always some new ideas.
But
I like the new ideas because look at our department heads. Okay, we have a new police chief, comes out with some great ideas. We have a new guy in charge of public works. Again, he's coming out with different ideas all the time. It's nice to do that. So if you're doing it when you're having department heads, I don't think it's bad if you do it, for elected officials as well.
So, yeah, because there are some, even on the town council, there is a particular councilman that's been on for a long, long time, and a lot of people feel it's time for new fresh faces. Now we've gotten a few. We've gotten a couple that have been voted in, Sean Faber and Ron Dunn, and they're their first time around. Of course, Chad was on for just one term, and he's ready to go because he's not going to stay on the town council, my understanding. And correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he's right.
And then there's Ted Coombs, who was on it before for numerous years, and then didn't make it one term, and now he's back again. So, and then John Farrell has been on for 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, even before him, there were people that were on there for 18 and 20 years, I guess, too.
Well,
so it's time, like you said, new faces, new blood.
It's nice to have new faces, but it's to get people to run.
Right.
I've been asked for years, Dan, why don't you run for town council? Dan, why don't you run for? And I always said no. I have no desire to run for town council.
Here you are.
I know, here I am. My life's been, very busy, running my business and stuff, and with family.
So
I have two sons in town, and I have 6 beautiful grandkids now. We were just up at McIntyre Ski Area tubing with some of them.
Yeah, I hear that's a lot of fun.
But this time around, I've been going to the meetings a lot, and sometimes it's like you say something at these public comments, and that's it. It just dies.
Well, that's another thing people feel too, Dan. That there have been, like, for example, I'm going to get that to it in a minute, but there have been warrant articles that have been passed in the past, where the town has passed it, and the town councils have done nothing about it. Mm-hmm. They just washed it under the rug. They feel that nobody's listening to them. That's why people don't come to those town council meetings. Sometimes I don't go because I feel I'm going to just get up there, say something, public comment, and nobody cares. They're going to do what they're in office now. They said everything you wanted them to, typical politician. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes, your death. But I get up there and I become one of the town council, and I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I don't care what you say. I've got my own agenda. And that really, when we've got 70 or 80 or 90% of the warrant articles that are being voted by the town people, yes, we want this. No, we don't want this.
Sure.
And the town council's not doing that. So what would you do if something like that, these articles are passed? Like there's 34 articles now, 34 warrant articles.
But 34 warrant articles, you listen to the voters. It's different getting up there at public comment and making comments and stating stuff and asking them to look at certain things than being on the other side, and I know it's totally different. So when you get up there, you have to learn the lay of the land, with all the councilors. You're only 1 out of 5, so you're not going to change the world, I'm a person, I feel that I can listen to people, I can work with people, and, just hear people out and, get back to people. There's things in this community that's happened that I'm not happy about, but it got voted in, just like, you hear people, and you hear counselors complaining about traffic. But a few years ago, we had voted to buy the development rights on a piece of property on Gilchrist Road, not to be developed. The council brought that forward to the voters and said,
where would that be? What part of Gilchrist? Where?
It's behind Home Depot.
Okay.
Okay, and we had bought that. The town had voted that in, for conservation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Development
rights. Now, all of a sudden, they bring forward to the town saying, hey, we're going to sell this back to the developer, and we're going to make money off of it. Well, that's short-sighted because it's going to create more kids in school. It creates more traffic, more drain on services. All right? But that's not explained. I felt it wasn't explained fully to the people.
So did the property get sold?
Oh, yeah. Property got
Is
sold.
that where they're developing now?
If you're going down Gilchrist from 102 on the right-hand side.
Yeah,
That's-
you take a right where the Home Depot would be,
Yep.
entrance to the McDonald's, right?
Yep.
You follow that, and there's the restaurant that used to be a Luciano's.
Yeah, that's not it. That's across the street.
Across the street from it, and
Yep.
that was town property, and it was sold.
Yeah. So to me, when you have all those voters that come out and
Yeah.
say, hey, we're going to spend $1 million, $2 million on conservation, all right? So we're going to kind of slow down the growth in town. And now, all of a sudden, it's like, well, this is a good deal because we're going to make money off of it. I remember Mike talking to our former town manager, Mike Malaguti, and he said, oh, this is a great deal, Dan. I don't understand why you don't like it. I don't like it because, it's going to bring more kids to the school. It's going to create more traffic. Gilchrist Road is terrible now. It's going to be a drain on services, all right? Police, fire. Oh, yeah, but look at the tax dollars we'll get on that. That's short-sighted. The amount of tax dollars. And I said to him, I said, well, Mike, if you're still around when this is all built out, I said, we'll have that discussion. He said to me, well, if you're still around, I said, well, I'll be around. I've been here since 1979. I'll probably die here.
So now they're doing construction in that area, right?
Yeah,
And what are they putting in there? Do you know?
they're gonna. The last I heard, on the right-hand side, where that conservation land was, that's supposed to be townhouses,
For what type of?
residential homes.
What are they going to say? Now, did they give the property? Did the town just give the develop the property and didn't get any money back for it?
Oh no, the town got some money.
Oh, do you know how much they got?
I think it was in the tune of like $1 million.
That's it. How many acres?
I don't recall how many
Only $1 million.
acres. It was, the whole story behind it was they needed money for AES, which is the power plant.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Granite Ridge. Granite Ridge got over-assessed, they felt. They fought the town on their assessment. They won, and the town had to pay money back.
So they sold that to.
Yeah, they were looking for money. That was the bottom line.
Well, yeah.
And
I didn't know that. That's why I have people like you on my shows, so we can inform not just me, inform everybody here in Londonderry that's watching you, and people. Because sometimes I just don't know if people really know what's going on at the town meetings. Sometimes they don't know because there's not enough put out information. It's almost sometimes I feel they don't want a lot of people there.
Oh, I think they do. I don't think they mind having people there. I think it helps if you've been in town for a long time. I think having worked for the town
Right.
is beneficial because you know the inner workings of the departments. I remember when I was a police officer in town and people would come in and say, I'd talk to everybody and people would ask me and say, where's the best place to buy a house? And I'd tell them, do your homework.
Yeah.
Do your homework when you come in Londonderry because, all right, what you think is a cul-de-sac today might not be a cul-de-sac tomorrow.
Right.
And what is in the back? Well, my son was looking for a house one time, and I said to him, Matt, I says, in the back is where UPS is going to be.
Right.
So not only what is in your backyard, what potentially can be developed there, but also you know, we have problems with water in this community because we have several EPA
That was a
sites.
question I was going to ask you. What's the situation with water? I have town well water, which I got a water filtering thing because of the fastest.
Yeah,
I
PFAS.
I got that done, but I'm not on town water. I have my own well.
Yep.
I'll be there 300 years, and there'll be well water there.
Yep.
You know, because it's a artesian.
Yep.
It's 300 feet in the ground, so we're in a main artery. But are they going to bring in lines now? Or
Supposedly, that the last I heard, up on High Range Road, they're going to be working on getting some water service up in that area.
now, as a person who has water in I'm getting well water.
Yep.
Do I have to go to a town?
My understanding is you will not have to be hooking up. You know, like there's some communities sometimes you hook up.
Right.
You know, it's a misconception when people say, I have a well, it doesn't cost me money. All right? I've been in construction for years, and you can easily drop 20 grand in a well to dig a hole,
Oh, yeah.
you know, in the ground. And you know, when your pumps go and it's all,
Knock on wood, we've had a pump for almost 40 years there, so it's still working. But I know eventually
lightning strikes.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So things like that, it costs money. But, you know, we have a lot of EPA sites in town. When I say that, we have Auburn Road, we had Holton Circle, we have behind Home Depot, which was the Tinkham site.
Right.
You know, just to name a few.
My wife's from here originally. I moved here almost 24 years ago, and none of this stuff was around. I mean, none of this construction you see, and it was like, I can't believe how fast and how, you know, it's starting to look like a city. And I'll be honest with you, that Woodmont projects over there, those places look like jails to me. The ones with the flat roofs and all that. The other ones they're building and again, it doesn't fit Londonderry, New Hampshire. It doesn't seem to, you know, we used to be an apple country type of place, and that's gone away.
But see, with the apple, you know, they say, oh, you know, apple orchards are nice. But if you go down Gilchrist Road, when the town bought that conservation, that development rights over there, everybody was like, oh, that's hideous looking. If you don't take care of the apple trees, they look awful, you know? And when you talk about developing, now, if you go on the north side of Pillsbury Road, okay, by Hardy Road, that orchard that used to be owned by Andy Mack, all right, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but Conservation Commission had their eyes on that. They had brokered a deal with Andy Mack to buy that for conservation,
Right.
all right? Town Council at the time didn't like the deal, all right? So
That's why they developed those little community of houses, right? All in a bunch
no,
of,
that's not developed yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's if you're going up Gilchrist Road,
Right.
all right, you come to the stop sign at Pillsbury,
Yeah.
and you were going to take a right to go to Market Basket. All that orchard on your left,
Okay.
all right?
Right.
So what ended up happening was Andy Mack turned them around and sold it to Woodmont. Now what are we going to have? We're going to have housing up there, you know? Again, you know, it's
Well,
just poor planning.
like my wife says, the more the people, the higher you need police, fire, and taxes are going to go up.
Yep.
I mean, that's, you know. Real quick question. By the way, you're an independent, not a Republican or a Democrat, you were telling me? You're independent? I'm an independent.
I like to look at every situation and vote that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you a registered independent? Are you a registered Democrat or Republican?
I am a registered Republican, but I consider myself an independent because I don't always agree with every party.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes people feel that, you know what, if you're a Republican, you have to vote Republican. You know?
Right. And that's why I'm an independent, period.
That's how I look at myself. I'm an independent, and I look at
So you're a
the issues.
you're a maverick like John McCain was with his party. But real quick, there's a thing this is close to my heart because I'm a 100% service-connected disability veteran, and there's an article that Mara Ryan, who will be coming on in a little while. We're going to do another show after this with her. She's going to talk about this a little bit more. where the article would give a higher or even 100% disability tax break for guys like me.
Yep.
Because let's face it, I'm on a fixed income now. And right now my wife's working, but once she retires, which is in May, half our income.
Sure.
And so, would you vote for this? Are you in favor of this? Or are you against this? Because I'm the type of person, and quite frankly, either you're 100% for veterans or you're not.
No, see, now I disagree with you on that. Because, all right, my dad was a vet, all right? I tried going in the service, but they wouldn't take me because of my index finger, all right? And when I went there, the guy at the Army says, we'll get a waiver for you. And he said to me, he says, well, we can't take you right now, but in the event of a war, we'll take you. And I looked at him and I said, my finger's not going to grow back, and I can shoot a gun now. So anyway, I've gone up in front of the council in the past when they've wanted to increase the amount of money they give to the vets on their taxes, and I've spoken for that. I don't think we do enough for our vets in this country. Right. Okay? So would I vote for something like that to help our vets? Yeah, I would vote to help our vets. I know a lot of vets.
Yeah, according to Mara, she's trying to get, this says it's going to be up to 100% permanent total. In other words, anybody who's like me who's got 100%, and the property tax would be basically, lack of better words, free. But we're going to see how it goes. She's actually said they might even adjust it. She's got to go. The state has to do this first. The state has to take care of all this. Which she's trying to get a bill in, and Governor Ayotte said she's already signed it. So if it increases, it gives more tax breaks. She's in favor of that.
See, now,
right now it's $4,000 a year, and they're going to try to go up. Even if they get up to 5,000, so.
But if you follow this, they'll tell you, oh, it's illegal. You can't vote for that.
Well, this was done under advisory,
right?
In which
it was changed to advisory.
Yeah, to me, that's a kind of a cop out. We're just going to put it on advisory, and then if the town votes 80% are in favor of it, the town council is not going to do anything.
Sure.
They've done that in the past. They don't care what it's advisory. So we're just about out of time here. We got about 58 seconds. So. I'd like to thank you for coming. I hope we again, people know who you are, and they'll see you. If any other candidate would like to be on my show, give me a call. Actually, I have an email. You'll see it at the end of the show. It'll be posted. And can they get a hold of you through email too, if we put it on the...
Sure, we can put my email out there. That's
not
a problem. Yep.
Okay. And we'll do that. And I'd like to thank Dan Bouchard for... Bouchard?
Yeah.
You are French, aren't you?
Nice French name.
Yeah.
And I speak French too.
Did you play hockey?
No, I didn't play hockey.
Oh, shame on you.
So,
anyways, thanks for hanging out with us today here at Londonderry Talks. I'm Dennis Martin, and you have a great day.
The preceding program was produced by Londonderry residents. The views and opinions expressed are not necessarily the views and opinions of the LACTV staff or its volunteers and should not be considered an endorsement by CTV 20 or its staff and volunteers.